Hello beautiful soul, this is your Julia from quantumhealingjourney.ie, and this video is about the Orion Constellation. I will share information about the Orion alignment occurring in December and June each year, how to find Orion on the night sky and in your natal astrological chart to see if you are the Orion starseed. I will share about the light and dark aspects of the Orion beings, as well as some of galactic history associated with the star system, and how it relates to our lives now, as it may help you see what is happening on Earth now from a much higher perspective. And if you watch till the end, I will also share information about the most common Orion starseeds characteristics, as I myself have lived many lives in the Orion Constellation. The Orion Constellation lies on the celestial equator. It is one of the brightest and best known constellations in the night sky. It spans nearly 20 degrees of the zodiac in the sign of Gemini and contains 13 named fixed stars, as well as the magnificent Orion Nebula. It is known as a gateway to an infinite realm beyond the physical universe. From my experience and some of my clients' readings, I know it to also be a home of some of the angelic forces that are dedicated to supporting evolution of life in our Milky Way and beyond. Some astronomers claim that a huge, beautifully illuminated, multicolored light has emerged from the Orion Nebula not so long ago, and it is on its way to Earth, although at rather slow pace, and at this rate, this light will likely reach Earth in approximately 3,000 years. Orion is easily located in the night sky by the three bright stars in a row that makes up the Orion's belt. The alignment with Earth and Sun and Orion occurs every year between 7th and 20th of December and June. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, meditate at night in December and daytime in June to connect with these powerful Orion energies. If you live in the Southern Hemisphere, it is the other way around. So much of what was happening in the Orion Constellation is being reflected on Earth for thousands of years. Interestingly, the current events on Earth will continue escalating this December and early next year, all according to plan. Any further chaos or despair will act as trigger for the many millions of Orion souls towards their remembering that they are here to finish unresolved karma from their Orion history and past lives on Earth since the Atlantean era, and to support the glorious multidimensional healing process that affects our entire multiverse. We think we are so disconnected, so isolated in this corner of this universe, but this is far from truth. Our seemingly insignificant personal and collective experiences are sending infinite, powerful ripple waves of energy that are directly affecting past, parallel, and future timelines of billions of species across the entire multiverse. It is a great challenge for me to pick and choose what to share in this video about Orion Collective. There is so much to talk about, but I hope this microscopic fraction will give you some idea of how significant Orion history is for all of us at this pivotal time of our collective evolution. Orion is the place where masculine and feminine consciousness eventually integrated together after aeons of polarity wars. Extreme aspects of both had to be experienced by beings inhabiting this star system for this integration to be successful. The feminine aspect was more emotional, spiritual, and psychic, yet ended up suppressing her own purpose for the benefit of the whole. The masculine aspect was of service to self, believing that individuality was the key. Extremes of both aspects can lead to darkness and negativity, and during Orion's history, there were times when negativity and fear dominated. Sounds familiar? These were the seeds of polarity which characterized Orion. The more advanced societies which developed in the constellation of Orion used technology to control beings on mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. The negativity grew until many souls wanted to leave the Orion group's incarnation cycle, but they couldn't do it because of the amount of control the Orion Empire had over them. Then, some beings in the Orion group discovered portals of interdimensional travel. At that time, the emerging civilization on planet Earth presented these souls with the opportunity to escape from Orion's clutches and enter the incarnation cycle on Earth. However, their traumatic memories of Orion remain buried in the depths of their subconscious minds, and these are still affecting life on Earth for many modern humans. The current times of change we live in are triggering these deep subconscious memories in the Orion starseeds, and many of them are becoming actively engaged in protests and speaking up against any oppression of human rights. So let me help you find out if you have a soul history within the Orion constellation. In the description of this video, I'm including a link where you can get your free astrological, very detailed natal chart. You will need to know your time of birth, your date of birth, and your place of birth. And here I'm listing all of the degrees pointing to the fixed stars within the Orion constellation, including the Orion Nebula. If you find any of these degrees in Gemini in your chart, or also in Sagittarius, which would mean Orion constellation was in opposition to any of the planets in your chart at the time of your birth, that would mean most likely that you had lives within the Orion constellation, that you are one of the starseeds, or indeed that the Orion energy, Orion history is in some way influencing your current life on Earth. If you would like to get a very detailed reading and explanation of exactly how these energies are influencing your life, or exactly what kind of lives you had there, you can visit my website. I would love to help you remember your soul history and your soul purpose on Earth at this time. In case you cannot access your natal chart, in case you don't know how to work with your chart, here are some of the most common characteristics of the Orion starseeds that I came across. Orions care immensely about this planet and every living being who inhabits the Earth plane. They understand people and know that peace is everyone's birthright. They'll go above and beyond to call of duty in awakening humankind to deliver this message. Many of these starseeds were part of freedom fighters in the Orion constellation. There was an entire collective of souls who tried to awaken beings that chose to keep their heads down to survive the enslavement or the control of the Orion Empire. So if you find yourself as an activist and passionate about uncovering dark agendas, you're most likely one of these freedom fighter souls from the Orion. However, this Black League Freedom Fighters collective, after thousands of years of trying to fight fire with fire, realized that that's not the way to win. They realized that they need to start evolving spiritually and gain a much higher understanding of polarity, of universal principles of light and darkness, life and death, feminine and masculine principles. And as they started integrating polarity within themselves, their collective experience shifted and their inner peace started becoming reflected outside of themselves. So eventually they reached peace agreements with their opponents. And this is what we call the Orion light, consciousness of integrated polarity that is guiding us all to realize that anger and frustration and hate and division is not the way to go. Another common trait with the Orions is that they are inspiring entrepreneurs. They are driven from a young age to acquire skills, knowledge that they use to become self-employed, to create their own businesses. And this is because within Orion constellation, on many of the stars, many beings are very self-sufficient. And again, this comes down to soul memories of oppression, control, frustration of, feeling dominated by something outside of them. So since those times, they do whatever they can to be free, to not let anyone tell them what to do. And when they become employers to someone else, they're the best boss you can ever wish for. They are compassionate, they're fair, understanding, inspirational leaders that are approachable, and it is a joy to work with them. Orions are very logical and task-focused. They're more logical and analytical in their earlier years. But as they evolve spiritually, they find themselves being beautifully balanced, using both their logic, their left brain, and their intuition and creativity, their right brain. So you can tell whether you are still operating from your past or you're already aligned with the Orion light of unity consciousness and integration of polarity. The Orions are wisdom seekers, as it makes them feel confident. They rely on it to steer conversations, to impress people, to influence others. They really enjoy learning. They're passionate about studying. They adore knowing things that others don't. And this interest in knowledge runs deeply. They're usually working on multiple projects at the same time, studying multiple different topics. They are multi-passionate entrepreneurs. Orion starseeds have great sense of humor. They kind of remind me of the Irish mentality that no matter how much trauma there was, no matter how bad the weather is, there is always possibility of throwing in a joke. They have a sharp wit and are good at cracking jokes about the world in which we live. And I believe this is again coming from many lives of sorrow, of darkness, of wars, where you have nothing to lose, so you find a way to brighten up the day with humor. Their spirit is extremely resilient. So in conclusion, most starseeds get stuck in their heads and plan for an exit. They don't like to be here, but we're here to enjoy this magical place. Earth is such a gem within our universe. We have no idea how incredibly precious Mother Earth is and how incredibly precious our bodies are. And this wisdom was strategically suppressed in humanity for thousands of years in order to keep us controlled. So start searching for answers. Get to know thyself. Start searching for those treasures within your being and within Mother Earth. Start unlocking the hidden secrets and enjoy your journey. Mother Earth needs all hands on deck to ascend, to liberate herself from suppressing, controlling frequency of fear and hate. You came to be the light and love frequency. You came to blast the old paradigm, the old consciousness with the power of your I Am creative presence. Many Orion starseeds are here to assist. Whether you do this through activism or other causes, remember, we all have a role to play. So during the Orion alignment, it is a great time to set an intention for you to resolve and heal old conflicts within your soul experience of polarity, of dark versus light, and to restore balance and harmony between masculine and feminine aspects within yourself. Call on the Orion light to guide you in life towards peace, integration of your Orion lives, and a joyous experience of your continuous soul evolution journey. What we are experiencing on Earth right now is just an echo of something that was happening millions of years ago in our galactic past. So we too now collectively are going through massive, rapid evolution of our consciousness. We are going through rapid spiritual growth, which leads us to that very same realization that as we heal polarity within ourselves, we will start seeing the outside world reflecting a very different reality to what we were used to so far. I'll be sharing very detailed stories about individual soul journeys from my clients' readings as I'm getting permission to share. If you're interested in these topics, make sure to subscribe, share, like, comment. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. I send you much love and joy from Ireland.